And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
I did enjoy watching this movie, largely because as I was watching it, I was thinking of Mark's discomfiture. And as each scene played out, I thought, Mark is going to be fucking pulling his teeth out with this.
Good evening and welcome to Is It a Bicycle, Season 8, Episode 3, the original and bestest ever TV and movie podcast from Ireland. My name is Stephen Wrigley and I'll be your host for this evening. Beside me is a man who says he doesn't like to make plans for today because then it would be premeditated.
It's Mike McDonough.
Live from Vegas, we have a man who this week was tasered at speed dating again.
Sean. I love cans, Leonard.
And in the red corner, it's our cuddly killer, a man who says that Liam Neeson should bring his family to the vet and get them microchipped.
It's Mark, superhero, Leonard.
This week, we hope to discuss some movies in the shape of Ida and Whiplash, and some TV in the form of 12Monkeys. We'll also talk about some news and have some previews and come to a bicycle near you. So how are we doing?
Fantastic, Steve. How are you?
I'm great.
Doing pretty good, Steve. Thank you for asking.
Good. Did anyone see the UFC this weekend? This past
Well,
weekend?
I have a better question.
Oh, yeah?
And for anyone who hasn't seen the UFC Fight Night 59 and is interested in watching it without it being spoiled, stop listening now. Yeah. Right now, this instant. Because it was spoiled for me by a very evil morning TV program in Ireland called Morning AM. Morning AM, if we ever review you, you will not be Thriller. But, Steve, you sent me a text to let us know that Paddy Power, a betting organisation in these fair shores, was offering 10-1 that all three Republic of Ireland fighters would win.
Yes.
And I said, you know what? That's pretty good odds for three pretty good fighters. And I don't bet. I'm not a gambling man.
Yeah.
And my wife looked at me and she said, are you going to bet on that? And I said, I might throw 20 quid at it. Sure, what's the harm? And she said, well, you know what? Put 20 quid on for me as well. Now, 40 quid at 10-1 gives you back €440. Had I made that bet. So I went on to Paddy Power on my phone, and my phone let me down so badly. I tried for ages to connect and to log in. It kept saying password not found, username not available. Yeah. And all of my usual, like, you know, when your name is used and you go to like your secret identity. Yeah. And that was taken as well, and I couldn't get registered. And then I went, wait a minute, if my secret identity is taken, then it was probably me years ago and I forgot. So then I went and I logged in as my secret identity, and sure enough, that's exactly what had happened. At which time the odds were down to 5-1, and it just wasn't worth it. But as luck would have it, all three Republic of Ireland fighters won. Sorry, they all won. Mm-hmm. What did you think of the Conor McGregor fight, Steve?
I really enjoyed it, actually. You know what? As short as it was very enjoyable. Now, I'm a big fan of Dennis Seaver normally. But I was backing Conor in this for obvious reasons. And I'd like to see him make it to a championship bout. So, but there was once like 20 seconds into the fight, there was no doubt who was going to win this fight. You know, it was
he was untouchable, wasn't he?
He was a completely different level. He really was. Yeah. Now, Dennis Seaver is brilliant. Obviously, he's top 10, and he's a complete veteran. But he was really, really outclassed this time. Yeah, Mike, did you see this?
I did. I kind of felt sorry for poor old Dennis.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah,
I never normally do that.
Yeah.
I was like, but please just don't hurt him too badly.
Don't hurt him too badly. You've made your point. Yeah.
We get it, you're good.
He was up against the cage using front kicks to try and keep McGregor back. And like everybody knows that only works for a little while. And really you're just sending a message to, you know, Conor or whoever you're fighting that you're a wounded animal and more or less ready to be finished.
Yeah.
And finish him he did in scintillating fashion. We'd expect no less, I suppose, from the Notorious.
Was it just
a TV show that might be reviewed next week and get a thriller from this very podcast is a TV show entitled Notorious, starring none other than Ireland's favourite son, Conor McGregor. And that's kicking off. I think it's on Monday of next week. So we might have a few words to say about that next week in the podcast. What do you think, Steve?
I think it'd be worth a look, all right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The last one was pretty entertaining about his signing, to the UFC in his first few weeks, and the build up to his first fight. So, I think I'd give this a look, yeah.
Was it just me, or do you think he showed a little bit of mercy in the end? When he was on top and he was throwing down the elbows, he was throwing them at the other guy's arms. So it looked like he was attacking, but he wasn't actually, putting them in hospital.
I don't know. I didn't get that at all from him. I thought he was trying to finish it as quickly as possible. I didn't see any mercy there, actually.
Well, when he was hitting them on the side of the head, they were obviously making contact and hurting. But then your man put his arms up to protect his head, and Conor just rained down elbows against his forearms.
Yeah.
So it looked bad, but actually he wasn't taking too much punishment.
Yeah.
It was giving the ref the chance to stop it before he fucked him up too bad.
Yeah. Poor Dennis. All Conor's previous fights, there was an awful lot of talk back and forth, especially the last one.
Yeah.
But this one, Dennis was just like, I'm fighting, against your man over there. He just wasn't up for the whole showmanship stuff,
Yeah.
So I kind of did feel sorry that he hadn't mouthed it off. He didn't really deserve to be hammered like that, So anyway. So the next one, he's now up for a championship fight with Aldo in May.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Have they've released that, Steve, have they?
So it was said. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's been confirmed, but certainly the following day they were saying it's going to be in Vegas in May. Yeah.
Vegas in May. That's definitely something to look forward to.
Yeah.
It's still something next week. I don't know. It's like the last one, but it's a 6-parter. And you mentioned that Seaver was quite stoic in the way he dealt with Conor McGregor in the build up to this show.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for Dennis, that really isn't what you should do when you're in the fight game and trying to make money, because presumably that's why he's there. He's not just there to take really hard punches from people like Conor. But Conor came away with 170 grand after the fight. Dennis got 40.
Oh.
Less than 40, 39 in fact.
Oh. Yeah.
So it's still not a lot of money compared to pro boxing these days, is it?
No, it's not. It definitely isn't. But I'm sure Conor's getting quite a bit from Reebok. Mm-hmm. He signed a deal with them as well, and there was plenty of those sneakers to be seen.
Yeah. So, anyway, the other two guys who were fighting, did you see those fights in the prelims?
Yeah, I think I've seen all the fights now that were on that show.
The Hooligan. Fantastic performance. That was brilliant. I thought.
He's becoming more famous for the conversation he had after his fight.
Was this the cup of tea?
No,
it was
with,
called the cup of tea with Paddy.
Is it La Rosa?
Oh.
Ricardo La Rosa? I'm probably not getting his name right.
Okay.
No, I am. Ricardo La Rosa. He's an MMA pundit who said that he didn't think that... maybe I do have his name wrong. He didn't think Conor McGregor could beat Aldo. And basically, Paddy decided to explain to him that he didn't agree.
Oh.
I must get that guy's name right. Yeah. Ricardo Lamas. I'm sorry. I was close.
Oh, yeah.
There was a backstage confrontation between Ricardo Lamas and Patrick Houlihan. I really enjoyed Paddy's fight. He did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good now. Yeah. It was a good card overall, actually.
Speaking of titles and winning awards.
Yes.
Sean, do you want to talk a little bit about the Oscars?
I surely will. As probably everyone is already aware, the Oscar nominations came out this past week. There are a lot of big winners, or presumed soon-to-be winners out there. Leading on nominations are Birdman and the Grand Budapest Hotel, who each have 9 nominations. You should check the Is It Westfield review of Grand Budapest Hotel from last season if you're interested to find out why. The Imitation Game has 8 nominations. Boyhood and American Sniper each have 6. And Whiplash, Interstellar, and Foxcatcher all have 5. So, people were expecting these nominations to follow fairly close to the Golden Globes. And in fact, they did in many ways. I don't know if you guys got a look at these, but I for one have a particular bone to pick with the actor in a leading role category. The nominees are Eddie Redmayne, Michael Keaton, Benedict Cumberbatch, Bradley Cooper, and Steve Carell. We reviewed Foxcatcher recently on the podcast. I don't think that Steve Carell was the lead.
I think
I'm pretty sure that was a Channing Tatum movie in which he was a supporting actor.
I think you're dead right. Not that Steve wasn't brilliant, but yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Because the only reason I could possibly see him being moved up there was to make room in the actor in a supporting role category.
Yeah.
Honest to God, so I really, I know we've talked about how the nominations and how the awards are given out and chosen. We've talked about that system before, but that just seems like them basically misunderstanding a film. That's me having a little bit of a tizzy about that.
On that, what do you got? That award. I was very disappointed to see that Jake Gyllenhaal didn't make it.
Jake Gyllenhaal, no?
Yeah.
Not at all?
I know. That was tragedy. Travesty.
I mean, well, who could he replace?
Yeah.
Probably Steve Carell.
Steve Carell, there you go.
Go by what we just said, yeah. I mean, I would go along with that. I haven't seen every performance there as of yet, but I soon will. And we'll be discussing them in this very podcast moving forward. But speaking of snubs, a film that was near and dear to my heart, as anyone who listened to the Bikey Awards knows, was left off the list for Best Animated Feature.
Completely.
The Lego Movie only got one nomination for Best Song.
I know. It's crazy.
I actually did a little digging. Variety, the Hollywood trade, had a bunch of articles about the snub, not just one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So here's how animation professionals pick the nominations for Best Animated Feature. Bear in mind, this is not how all of the nominations are picked, even though it sounds like the right way to do it. So the animation professionals watch all of the animated films, which just sounds like a basically good idea. And then they all rank them, much as we do on this very podcast. And they do an average of the scores, and the top 5 are the nominations. Simple, easy, effective, makes sense. However, the mean age of members of the Academy is quite high. I think it's above 30s even. So a lot of those guys are animation professionals who would prefer different styles of animation, the more air quotes difficult end air quotes type, such as stop motion, as opposed to the Lego Movie, which just kind of made fun of stop motion the way that it did it. So there's a little explanation for that. I'm still upset about it though.
I did like your man making the little Lego trophy for himself.
Yeah.
Putting it on Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter, little Lego Oscar.
Yeah,
that
was a nice touch.
Yeah.
I think what is going to be useful for them is that in every article about how they were snubbed and everyone wondering why, at the very end they all mention, by the way, there's 2 Lego movies coming out in the next few years, one the Lego Batman movie and one the sequel. I don't think they're that worried about it. And with the 96% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, I don't think they're ever going to really give that much of an F about it. Phil Lord et al.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about the nominations? What did you think about what happened? Were you happy with how they went? Are you excited to watch the show hosted by Neil Patrick Harris towards the end of February?
Well, I was actually delighted that the Lego Movie didn't get a nomination. I thought it was a kind of a suitable retribution for the Bikey Awards, which I'm still quite bitter about. I said, "Oh, there's something Sean can't manipulate."
If only. People are worried that nobody's going to watch the Oscars this year because none of the movies have particularly large box office appeal.
Did you see the row about it being very white this year and very male?
Yeah. To be honest, I read a bunch of articles about it, and there was a Twitter campaign going hashtag Oscars so white, but I didn't actually really get it until someone put the pictures for all of the best acting nominees on one page of a newspaper, and it was just it was kind of crazy. Like, honest to God, given the amount of diversity that is in film / is increasingly in film, we hope it was just kind of weird. And specifically, they were wondering why there was no female directors nominated,
That's
and there
correct.
was no actors of ethnic diversity at all nominated for any part.